Okay. Hi, Jeff. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thanks. How about yourself?
Doing fine. Thank you. Thank you for coming on the show. Nice to have you
My
here.
pleasure.
So, you've got a book out called Trust is a Double Edged Sword, Trust Me. And according to your bio, this is your third book. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
What were your other two books about?
My passion. My thing is networking. I love putting people together. I live in a world of constantly creating connections. I collect people. My first book's title is One Phone Call Away Secrets of a Master Networker. That book kind of exploded. All sorts of great things happened. And my second book's called The Opportunity Magnet. And of course, this book.
How important is networking for people, especially like entrepreneurs who are starting a business?
Uh, how important is blood to your body? I mean, the answer is it's such an important thing to know people and to be able to connect people because that's how things happen. And I have about uh, close to 14,000 people in my personal database, and I keep information on them. I know where I met them, how I met them, the time, the date I met them, who introduced us, and I have them categorized by their skill set. So I can find people not just by their name, but I find them by their attributes, and that becomes very powerful, especially when you're looking for something and/or when you're trying to help people.
Is networking and promotion the same thing?
No, they're one thing has nothing to do with the other. I don't even like the word networking. Honestly, it's a hackneyed term. I have my own word, which is actually a creation of two words. I live with the word called help others. It's one word, help others. And I'm always putting people together. I've created organizations that meet monthly and do these dinner events. And I do all sorts of one-off events, putting people together. And when you start doing that type of things just happen. I sort of look at life like a giant field. Every year I start the new year, I look at this vacant, empty field, and out throughout the year, I'm throwing seeds in that field, and a tree grew in front of me, a tree grew in the back, and by the end of this year, I got a forest in front of me of all the things that happened because that's the way I lead my life.
I guess promotion is sort of a one-way street, where networking is more
It's
of a two-way.
I think that's an accurate assessment. Promotion is, to your point, pushing yourself. I don't do that at all. I listen, I collect people, and I put them together. If I like someone, I have a good feeling about them. I'm thinking about who to introduce them to.
I want to cover a couple of points that I see on your bio here. One of them, it says that you were kidnapped.
I was.
Can you tell us a little about that?
I was a little guy. I was 4 years old when that happened, and my mother, my parents were separating. They had all sorts of issues. My mother got a babysitter. I don't know where she got her from. I don't know what source. Back then, it was different than it is today. And this woman apparently plotted. I don't know how she did, but she took me from my residence and I went on a train and I went out to somewhere in New Jersey. She wasn't mean or anything to me. She was actually nice, as I remember. But I went to this house and I think her father was there, or someone was there they locked me in a room and they wanted ransom. And the FBI got involved. It was a whole thing. And I was locked in a room for 2 days. The only thing good about it was that there was a TV in the room. I do remember that. Being a little boy, that's kind of an important thing. They fed me, but it kept me locked in there. And then all of a sudden, the door broke down. 2 days being locked in the room, and police came storming in. And I wound up going to the police station. It was late at night, so I got to sleep in a cell at 4 years of age.
Wow. Did these people, I mean, did they know your family? And
I don't. I was a little. I was basically a baby. I didn't know anything. I don't know where my mother got this person. Apparently, this person plotted. So it must have been more than I thought it was. One time person. I don't. I really don't know. But I mean, they weren't. They didn't do anything to me. They didn't hurt me. But they did want a lot of money, and it was thwarted.
were your parents wealthy?
Uh, no, my grandparents were.
Your grandparents were wealthy. Okay. All right. When I first read that, I thought this was like an adult to kidnapping. I didn't realize it was a child kidnap. I thought you were kidnapped by your former business partner or something. One of those sort of
No.
deals, force you to sign over your half of the business or something like that.
he kidnapped other things. He was, as you read, I don't know if you read it, but pretty extreme stuff he did. But no, this was one thing had nothing to do with the other.
So trust is a double-edged sword. Colon, trust me. Tell us a little about this book. What was the inspiration for this?
Well, my stupidity, actually.
That's a good
I
inspiration. Yeah.
Well, it really is. I'm a very trusting person, and I've not changed in that regard. I'm smarter about it now. And I had this partner that I knew 20 years. He ran operations in the company that we had. There were three of us. I was the majority partner. He was under me, and I had another one under him. And he ran day-to-day operations, and there were all sorts of bizarre things happening for a long period of time with him, both personally or even in operations. And I accepted his answers, even though I had a bad feeling about it a lot of times. I heard these crazy stories about him. I mean, I go into detail in the book about it. People that know me and know him say this should be the next Netflix series because it's that extreme. Some of the things this person did is, in fact, last year his wife went off a terrace in Boca Raton, Florida. A mother of three usually don't jump off terraces. So the story is very extreme. I trusted him implicitly. I discovered massive thievery and forgery and sabotage. So I had to shut my company down in 2019. And at the time, if you had seen me, you would have noticed that my hands were shaking. My blood pressure was way up, and I'm unveiling bombs blowing up all around me. I had to save my investors, take control of the assets. Fortunately, I was on the board of the bank that had all our stuff, so I was able to really shut them off real fast. And I was so mad at myself because I had weird feelings, a bad gut feeling about certain things. I kicked the can. I did nothing about it. And I started learning all these things. And I'm standing in my apartment. It was in the middle of COVID. And I'm looking out my window and say, you know what? Trust. Trust in this country is an all-time low about everything. The amount of distrust and the apathy amongst people and things that we hear politically and all that. There's no trust about anything. So I did a massive amount of due diligence on that word. And the epiphany was trust is the core to everything in our lives. Every single thing in our lives is held together by trust. The problem is we don't think about it enough. We're not mindful enough. I wrote this book to make a difference. I wrote this book to create awareness. And I go into so many aspects of it relative to our lives, to everyone's lives. This is not, one group of people. It's everybody. And I've gotten a lot of recognition and people coming at me, thanking me. One person said, "You changed my life." I've had all sorts of interesting reactions. But my purpose here was to make a difference and create much greater awareness. That's something that's so essential in our lives.
Is the book written in a way for people who maybe are like you were and too trusting, and you have sort of clues to people's, like, what to look for, red flags, something like that?
It's a good question, and the answer is that I could best describe it as that when I was writing the book, I would send chapters as I was writing it to people that I knew to get their feedback, what they thought of it, what comments they had. And every time I sent a chapter to someone, every single time, aside from really thinking what I was doing was really important and liking what I was writing, they started opening up to me about how they've been abused or how they've been, violated from a trust perspective. And either it's on a personal basis or business basis or both. And there were no exceptions. Wasn't one person that has not had trust violation in their lives. And I guarantee, if you think of your own life, there are people that have been very disappointing or things that have happened that, you trusted and it went the wrong way. So it was like, and I was learning so much. In fact, some of the stories, some of the things in the book come from people having read my chapters, sharing some crazy things. And they fueled additional ideas to what I wrote in the book.
We've got just a few minutes left, and we do want people to buy the book after all. But I'm curious about, can you give us one example from your former partner that was sort of you said he did all these crazy things and you knew there was something wrong, but you didn't do anything about it. Can you give us one example of that?
Well, he literally sabotaged things. I mean, he would submit false papers to the court. He'd forge names. Uh, thievery was rampant. He had fake accounts where he was stealing money from things. In one case, we had a property that we had to get refinanced very quickly, and he submitted to the bankruptcy court. The stories in the book, a commitment letter from the lender. And when I took over the asset, and I'm saying, I know nothing about this. We had it was a bankruptcy, and the bankruptcy attorney tells me this, and I said, "Who's the lender?" Well, the lender backed out. His wife got killed in a car accident. He's not going forward. I said, "Who's the lender?" They gave me the name of the lender. The office was in Alpine. My assistant was helping me deal with everything, and I said, my assistant's name was Dave. I said, "Dave, when you go home tonight, I can't find this lender. He's at this address in Alpine. Go there. I got to see what the story is." He goes to the address, and the address was the Alpine the Alpine Police Department. It wasn't an office. It was a fake address, a fake commitment. I mean, and he submits to bankruptcy court. That's bankruptcy fraud, and that's just one story. I mean, there's so many that were way over the top.
And this went on for 20 years?
No, he wasn't a partner originally. First, he worked with us. I had another partner. My other partner and I broke up, and then he stepped up. I was going through a really bad divorce, so he was really there for me in a lot of ways. And I took control of the company, and I trusted him. I trusted him, implicitly at a certain point, even though there were signs. One of the 10 commandments of the book at the back, there are 10 commandments of trust. Your gut feeling, 98% of the time, it's spot on. Do not defy your gut feeling. It's usually a tremendous indicator of what's right. And when you defy your gut feeling, you're making a mistake.
I agree with that. I've defied my gut feelings on a couple of occasions and have lived to regret it. Absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah.
Another interesting, just because the book covers so much other than my own story. For instance, the second chapter of the book is, should I buy what I'm sold? And I talked about all these products out there that are marketed to us with fallacious representations. You'd be shocked how many products, there's no regulatory body that oversees it, that have completely fallacious representations. In fact, there's an app called Yuka, Y-U-K-A. You should check it out on your phone, and your listeners should also go look at it, get it on your phone. This has a scanning feature. You go into a drugstore or a supermarket, you scan the barcode, and it lists from 1 to 100, 100 being the best, how good the product is. And some of the products, particularly like suntan lotions that are at the front of all drugstores, they are all bad. They all have cancerous ingredients in them. They're like ratings of 4 or 5, and yet they're still there. No one knows this stuff. So get the app Yuka, and this is a great thing, for your wives, for your family. You go to the store to buy food or skin creams, and you scan the barcode, and you learn about products. And it's kind of incredible what you learn.
Oh, I'll have to check that out. Well, Jeff, we are quickly running out of time here. So the book is called, Trust is a Double-Edged Sword, Trust Me. Do you have a website that you want to give out?
There is a website, but candidly, I'm not really promoting so much on the website. I have done some TV things, and rather a lot of radio interviews. By the way, I couldn't use my name as author because the publisher wouldn't let me use my name because I go into such detail about these heinous acts of my crooked partner. So the author is Will, which is a combination of my middle name Wayne and my son's middle name William. But it's out there. You get on Amazon. It's in the bookstores, and you can find the book.
On the cover of the book, what is the author's name again?
Will.
Just one name?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll make sure we put up the book cover so that people know what to look for. And on that, thank you so much for coming on this show. This was an interesting conversation. Best of luck with your books. Hope they do well.
Thank you so much. You have a great day.